Optimum Business Solutions Limited presents ways of managing conflict in the workplace. Conflict exists when one person has the need of another and that need is not being met. Because no two individuals have exactly the same expectations and desires, conflict is a natural part of our interactions with others. In the 1970s, Kenneth Kilman identified 5 main styles of dealing with conflict that may vary of degrees of cooperativeness and assertiveness. They argue that people typically have a preferred conflict resolution style. They developed the Thomas Kilmann Conflict Mode instrument, TKI, which helps to identify which style you tend towards when conflict arises. Assertiveness is the extent to which the person attempts to satisfy his own concerns. Cooperativeness is the extent to which the person attempts to satisfy the concerns of others. Kilman's 2 basic dimensions of behavior define 5 different approaches for responding to conflict situations, namely avoidance, accommodation, competition, compromise, and collaboration. To better understand the styles of each approach, we will apply them to turn Laura and Jessica's current situation and see which style Carl, the manager, may use. Timeless Glamour Dress is getting ready to launch their new winter collection. The marketing department has asked Laura and Jessica, 2 of the best marketing representatives, to develop new advertising campaigns to promote and become the fashion leader of the year. Unfortunately, Laura and Jessica have to come up with 2 different ideas. Laura's idea is to promote a new collection through a fashion show. She aims to invite famous people such as singers, actresses, models to come to the fashion show. This will attract the media and a large number of people's attention. However, Jessica disagrees with Laura's idea and thinks that the fashion show would be time-consuming and expensive for the company. She thinks that there is a high price to pay in the event that the celebrities decide not to show up. Jessica suggests that the company should hire a famous person to wear their new collection and post their photos on socials such as Facebook and Instagram. This would be a more effective way as fewer resources are needed. Laura disagrees with Jessica and thinks that this way will not grab enough attention from the press to allow the company to become the fashion leader. It is clear that both Laura and Jessica have needs that are not being met. They must negotiate or find a way to manage their differences in order to reach a conclusion, therefore the deadline. In order to do this, Laura and Jessica may have to use the 5 different conflict management styles. A common way of dealing with conflict is simply to avoid it. This idea is based on the traditional theory, which assumes that conflicts are bad, usually caused by troublemakers, and must be restrained. If the parties in our conflict scenario choose the avoidance conflict management style, they will ignore the disagreement.
Look, Jessica, we need to finalize our idea. I think the fashion show is the best way to do it.
Okay, you know what? I think that's it. I'm just gonna go.
The negative side of avoiding the conflict is losing your position, and the other party may understand it as an agreement. However, in this situation, it may be appropriate for Jessica to use avoidance, as both of them is becoming too emotionally involved with the disagreement, which can lead to a fight. It is more favorable for Jessica to postpone her response. Another option for solving this conflict would be for Laura and Jessica to use an accommodation conflict management style, whereby one party tries to end the conflict by giving in to the wishes of the other.
Look, Laura, I have to talk to you. I think your idea is probably good, but I just think mine is better.
Okay, fine. If you think that it will be the best way to promote it, then I'll just go along with your idea.
This approach is unassertive. The individual neglects his own concerns to satisfy the concerns of the other person. In this case, Laura realizes that she has less experience than Jessica. It may be more beneficial for her to give in. Those with a high need for approval tend to accommodate more. In addition, It will help on preserving future relations with the other party. However, accommodating management style may cause a negative effect on Laura's confidence in responding to an aggressive opponent. She may be at risk of Jessica taking advantage of her own lower level of experience, which will be difficult to transform the disagreement into a win-win situation in the future. Therefore, keeping in right balance, it is important when using this style to deal with conflict. One conflict management style that can be especially damaging regarding long-term relationship is competition. This occurs when the objective is to win and to make the other person lose. Competition can create a hostile and defensive environment, making it difficult to reach an agreement.
Look, in this industry, everyone knows that we need fashion show to show off our products.
Okay, look, Laura. I think it's gonna be too costly and it's not even gonna be effective. If you really want to reach out to the international market, I just think you have to hire famous people to do that. It's gonna save time. And like, imagine what if those people didn't come? I mean, are they gonna handle all the cost? We don't have money to do that.
But if we have the fashion show, people come, they're going to post it online anyway. So why are we?
I just don't see why you don't see the potential of hiring famous people to do this with money-wise. I just don't see why you don't see the potential.
Competition is mostly about power or the ability to influence the other party to accept their point of view as the best position. This could also negatively affect Laura and Jessica's relationship in the long run. They may use other personal drive to win the argument, which may not be the best decision for the organization. Competition, on the other hand, may be useful in the situation where quick decision and response is needed. A compromise conflict management style attempts to resolve a conflict by finding a middle ground. The compromise is considered a lose-lose strategy because for each party to get something they want, they have to sacrifice something that they would prefer not to give up.
I know that setting up a fashion show is very important for apparel industry, but I think using social media would just help us in so many ways, and it's going to become more effective. I came up with a better idea. What if we just create a boutique pop-up in a department store, and the customer can come over, and they can at the same time take photo with our collection, and then they can post it on their personal social media like Facebook and Instagram, you know, with a hashtag of our brand with a 10% discount. And it works out both ways. What do you think of that idea?
Yeah, that's a great idea. I mean, it's more cost effective and, well, we can promote it through social media. I think that's the best solution.
You really like it?
Compromise is the fastest way to resolve conflict where both parties derive with a temporary solution while looking for a win-win solution. It keeps a good relationship in a supportive manner. However, it does not help on building trust in the long run. Both parties have to be careful and make sure that their optimum goal is met in this agreement. Collaborating may be based on the contemporary theory, which assumes that conflict between humans are unavoidable. It is a natural result of change that may be beneficial for an organization. The win-win conflict managing style is where both parties see their conflict as an opportunity. It tends to take more time compared to other conflict resolution styles because both parties are trying to identify the underlying concerns of their opponents, which will lead to an alternative solution that meets each party's concerns.
Jessica, what if we create a fashion show at the boutique pop-up? Because you know we're going to make an event, like, because if we have an event, then people will come. It will be more exciting, and we're going to leave it there anyway. But if on the first day we invite people to come, and it will be more like, you know.
Yeah, I think it's such a great idea. I think this works out the best, and I really like it. I think it's gonna be a success.
Collaborating may be based on the contemporary theory, which assumes that conflict between humans changes are unavoidable. It is a natural result of change that may be beneficial for an organization. The win-win conflict managing style is where both parties see their conflict as an opportunity. It tends to take more time compared to other conflict resolution styles because both parties are trying to identify the underlying concerns of their opponents, which will lead to an alternative solution that meets each party's concerns. In most cases, collaborating approach tends to work out the best and embrace the relations between the staff members. It helps on solving the actual problem, building trust and respect in the long run while arriving at a solution where both parties are satisfied. However, it requires all parties' responsibility to find out the mutually acceptable solution. This takes more effort and time than other management styles, which may not be appropriate in the situation where timing is crucial and a quick decision has to be made. There are more advantages and disadvantages in every conflict management style. It is important that managers understand and react to the situation where it is appropriate. This may require them to use different styles before deriving at the best solution to resolve conflict between their staff.